Okay, it's 3 o'clock. We're gonna call the joint finance audit budget meeting. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Right. Can I get a motion to adopt?
Support Zinner.
Perfect. Okay, Romano and Sinner. All right, thanks for the vote.
Motion passes 13-0.
Next, can I get a motion to approve the minutes dated March 18th, 2026?
Support.
Please vote.
Motion passes 13-0.
Great. Next is our first public participation. The first opportunity for public participation is for those who wish to speak maximum of 3 minutes on an item which is on today's agenda. The second opportunity for public participation is for those who wish to speak on any issue. Is there anyone in the audience that would like to speak on today's agenda? Anyone in the audience? Don't be shy. All right, we're going to move on. We have our first presentation. We're asking to move motion to grant full board approval for the 2026 Macomb County Equalization Report due to statutory deadline. Can I get a motion?
So moved.
Support.
All right, Kristen.
Good afternoon. My name is Kristen Seeloff. I am the Equalization Director for Macomb County. This is my favorite day of the year. A year's worth of work has been put together and has been summarized in the Equalization report that I submitted to the agenda packet. It's very long, it's very involved. There's a lot of numbers on there. And so I usually just try to point out what I find to be the most interesting pages of the report. We may differ on that, but page 5 is the SCV taxable value line graph. And, we're rising, our values are rising at a rate that is significantly higher than what our taxable value is. Mind you, the taxable value is locked in at that CPI or 5%, whichever is lesser of the two. The last couple years have been a little bit higher. This year it was 2.71. So it has backed off just a little bit, but we're starting to see that big cone of difference there, and well, we don't want to talk about the last time that happened. So that's an interesting thing. I always like to show the comparison of where we've been and where we are now. I just find that interesting. On page 44 is the average residential true cash values, and I kind of like this page because you really start to see what's happening within the local units on the residential levels and where the values are at. And, Grosse Pointe Shores, because they're so small, they're always going to have that higher average residential true cash value. But Washington Township is just under $500,000. That's coming up there. So we have Washington at 476, we have Bruce at 425, which has surpassed Macomb Township for the first time, and we have Macomb Township at 418. So these are our areas of the county where we're seeing some significant increase in the residential values, and there's some growth and expansions happening up there. So I always like to point that out. I think that's kind of interesting because the driving force of the county tax revenues is from the residential properties. The last page that I like to point out is page 45, which is the next page, and that's just the change from taxable value the previous year. And this year, it increased by 5.73. Last year, it was 4.77. And so that's a whole percentage point different from last year. And it's not the CPI, because the CPI is actually less than it was last year. So there's been a market increase. We have a market increase of where's that, 5.3. We have 1% for new construction, and so the overall increase in assessments is just under 7%. And I think that's about what I told you guys it was going to be in the study report back in December. So the assessors did what they were supposed to do, but this is a significantly higher, to me, increase in taxable value. So we either have more higher end properties transferring and that taxable value is jumping up. We have maybe some higher end new construction, and so that taxable value is coming in there. But we do have a full percentage point higher in our increase in taxable value. So that's good and that's bad. So I like to give all the good stuff first. The bad stuff is our Headley millage rollback this year is 0.9900. Last year it was 0.9941. So what that means is I have to take last year's millage rate and roll it back a little bit more than I had the previous year from 24 to 25. Now, again, we have an increase in the taxable value, so it usually offsets. I can give some estimates of those numbers of the tax levy if you guys are interested in that, and I can answer any other questions you may have about the report.
Any questions, commissioners? I'm not seeing any. Oh, Chair Sabatini.
Thank you. Hi, Kristen. Good to
Hi.
see you.
Good to see you.
So the 1% increase in taxable values compared to last year, when's the last time in the county that's increased that much, 1% year over year?
It's been a while. It's
Okay.
been a while.
So we're talking like the 90s, like when
No,
there's
no. Well, this didn't even start until 95 technically. So, I mean, we had significantly smaller jumps back then. No, it's just, it just seems odd to me that we have that big of a jump. And I will say I added 140 ag, commercial, and industrial parcels this year, which is a little bit weird. Normally, it's only about 100 new parcels. And that's basically, you split off a parent into 1, 2, 3, whatever. Normally it hovers around 100. So it could be any combination of things. I think one of the bigger things in this is the expansion that's happening in those higher values that they're getting the sale prices in the northern communities. The other thing is we had a new rate manual last year. And the last time we had a manual was in 2013, 2014. And then what they do each year, they just modify it with county multipliers. I may have shared with you guys in the past that Macomb County has the highest county multipliers in the entire state, shared with St. Clair County. It's one or the other. It's either we're the highest in each category or they're highest in a category. And I don't know why, but somebody else does that study. And so whenever you have a new manual, there's always the possibility that the assessments were under because you've been modifying it for so many years, and now you have a new starting place. And so then, of course, with that comes a new assessed value, and then if a property transfers, your taxable value jumps up. So it could be something like that because we had a market increase of 5.3. Okay. And so, it's a guess for me. I'm not at that local level to know exactly what's happening in the sales market. But I did tell you guys we were increasing, not at 7, but in that range. And that's a significant jump to me. I don't, as an assessor, as an equalization director, but as an assessor, I kind of like those to be a little bit closer to each other, maybe 2 or 3. You can ask. Well, you can't ask the old Steve. He's not here anymore. But I used to tell him, 2% is the CPI. So don't go crazy on that. You could go a little bit above that. Give yourself a little bit boost, maybe double. This is a whole percentage different than it was increased in last year. Last year it was 4.7. And so, it could be any number of things. I'm just, putting my best educated guess by what came in this year.
Okay, and then on page 45 of your presentation, is that the total taxable value change for all types of
Yes.
properties?
Yes, and I will point out, the graph doesn't have the graph shows taxable value minus all of the exemptions, so PILT properties, senior housing, veteran exemptions, land banks. We don't have any rent zones, but it would normally exclude the rent zones also. So that's why the two don't balance to each other, in case anybody caught that.
Okay. And then the numbers in here, the north of Hall Road increase is 6.52%, and south of Hall Road is 5.08% increase. Okay.
That's what's leading me to believe the expansion area is north of Hall Road. And so I always like to give that little tidbit of information because, you could look at cities versus townships, and that's great. But I like to see what's happening where. And hopefully soon I'll be able to fine tune that a little bit better by district. That is my goal, is to be able to present information by district.
Okay, great. Thank you for the information. Thank you, Chair.
All right, Commissioner Goike.
Thank you, Madam Chair. And I just wanted to verify, you're spot on with that, just from us, with a building that's going on, we haven't done a job in the last 5 years, less than 500,000 out in the northern end of the county. And therefore, the rest will catch up later on, like your older communities, like Shelby, that has a lot of fine houses too, but it's not picking up as quick because there's not a lot of sales going on. As what's making an impact, Washington Township's 28,000, Bruce Township is around 10,000, Ray Township 3,500. So all of them communities that I live and work in, I think you're spot on that. So thank you very much. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Okay, I see no other speakers. That was a great presentation, Kristen. Thank you, and to your team. Can we please vote? Again, this is full board approval.
Motion passes 13-0.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, next we have department recommendations, contract Granger Construction, Central Intake and Assessment Center, project change order number 10, $257,370.96. We have Ben before us. Can I get a motion to recommend to full board?
Motion to recommend to full board.
Support Zinner.
All right, we have Ben.
Good afternoon, Commissioners. I am seeking approval for a contract with Granger Construction to provide construction services in the amount of $257,370.96. All the items within this change order are within the original project budget. Change order 10 is made of many change order requests to simplify the approval process. It's inclusive of the following adds: electrical feeder upgrade for the existing tower, sheet metal abatement and the ductwork that was feeding the original gun range in the jail, some door replacement in the existing jail tower that have just failed and lost their inability to lock. We additionally added some power study scope beyond code requirements to validate capacity and investigate issues that we have found throughout the tower, and added replacement of a rooftop unit on the jail tower. This was an opportunity to capitalize on site with Granger's crane. It was a unit that we weren't previously going to replace, but it failed. And it just so happened to fail when there was already a crane on site, so we utilized that to replace a rooftop unit. We also have a small deduct, and that was changing out the 4x4 ceilings to a 2x2 impact resistant ceiling tile with security clips.
All right, do we have any questions, commissioners? I don't see any. No, surprise. Great explaining, Ben. Can I get a vote?
Thank you.
Commissioner Goike, did you receive a vote?
Yeah, voted.
It didn't come through on my end. If you'd like to voice vote.
Yay.
Thank you. Motion passes 13-0.
Great, thanks again, Ben. Next, we have our correspondence. Can I get a motion to receive and file 8A through 8C?
So move.
Support. All right, Ha and Lucido. Were there any questions on those? All right, please vote. And that is it for Finance, Audit, and Budget. Thanks, Phil, for giving me an easy one.
Chair, I'm just missing a couple votes. Commissioner Grote,
Yes.
Commissioner Zenner.
Yes.
Motion passes 13-0.
Ready to move on? 10A. Purchase of CyberForce 2026 penetration testing services for $64,939.87. Need a motion to move the full board?
Motion to approve.
Support.
Thank you. Commissioner Goike and Lucido made the motion, seconded to move this item to full board. You're on.
Good afternoon, Commissioners.
You should know.
I'm Jennifer Lehman. I'm the IT Infrastructure Manager. I'm filling in today for Jaco. I'm here to present a request for $64,939.87 for penetration testing services for cybersecurity. This will be coming from a cybersecurity grant that we came at the end of last year to let you guys know that we received. These funds will be paid from our budget originally and then refunded through the grant.
How much will be left in the grant after this?
$231,737. We were here in March for $166,798, and then this one for $64,939.
Do you have designs for the rest of the money?
We do.
Good. Commissioner Howard.
Hey, how are you doing?
Good, thank you.
Just a quick question. Like in general, I understand the objective of this, but does this include like phishing emails and all that, or like?
No, we do that already
Okay.
through our regular cybersecurity program. This is penetration testing as far as trying to, for lack of a better word, hack into our environment from an outside entity through the network.
Okay, I got you. Okay, thank you.
Seeing no other speakers, please vote.
Motion passes 13-0.
Thank you.
Thank you. Item 10B was postponed from last month's Internal Services Committee. It's for Plant Moran Real Point, task order number 4, Macomb County Salt Barn owner representation, project management services for $100,000. I need a motion to move to full board.
Support.
Commissioners Wallace and Howard made the motion and supported this to move this item to full board. Ben?
Good afternoon again. One of many items I think have in a row here. So this is seeking approval for task order 4 with Clemens and Real Point. Amount of $100,000 for owner's representation and project management services on the Department of Roads Salt Barn project. This is the exact task order that was presented to this group in March. The scope covers every phase, design through construction, into punch list and project closeout. So the project stays on schedule, on budget, and built to the standards expected. As we discussed in prior meetings, Facilities and Operations currently has only one dedicated project manager. Right now, that single individual is dedicating 99% of his time to the Central Intake and Assessment Center project. Meanwhile, we are actively managing 7 projects that are in construction, 9 that are in design, so a total of 16 capital projects with more on the way, those that I'll discuss today. Department of Roads and Martha T. Berry capital projects were transferred to F&O at the end of 2025 without any additional staffing. And prior budget year requests for full-time project manager positions have not yet been granted. This $100,000 contract is funded entirely within the Salt Barn budget. And I respectfully ask for your approval on task order number 4 today.
Seeing no speakers, please vote.
Motion passes 7-6. Commissioners Goike, Grote, Haw, Kraft, Sabatini, and Vansickle voting no.
Thank you. Item 10C will be for discussion purposes only. Plant Moran, Rail Point, Task Order Number 2, Phase 1, Services, Health and Community Services Facilities Project for the Vehiculan Building for $450,000. Need a motion to approve this for discussion?
Like if the chair, this is for discussion only.
Yes.
Second for discussion.
Thank you. Commissioners Lucido and Howard made the motion and seconded it for discussion purposes. Ben?
I will start with a question. The discussion part only surprises me. That's new. My intent today was to bring the task order for a contract approval. So my write-up is for that, but I mean, we could do our presentation and go from there. Yeah. So, as I'm discussing, this is for task order number 2, which relates to owners' representation services for health and community services facilities project, really dealing with Vehiculan. With me today to present on this topic are Andrew Cox, who you all know, and representatives from Plant Moran Rail Point. And we have a presentation. And I'll let Plant Moran take it, and I believe everyone's got the handout that we'll discuss here in a minute. So.
Thank you, Ben. Good afternoon, Commissioners. Appreciate your time on the agenda today. My name is Andy Fountain. I'm with Plant Moran Rail Point. We have a presentation here for you. I believe that many of you have seen this information previously, but for the benefit of the group, we thought we'd go through the presentation. Happy to take any of your questions along the way or at the conclusion of the presentation. If we can go to the next slide, please. I have control. There we go. On the agenda today, we'll talk about the current state of the Mount Clemens Health Facility, talk about some of the service efficiencies and the delivery methods, delivery models that were considered. We'll talk about the space needs that we've conducted. We'll talk about the timeline, some of the site due diligence that we've done, along with the opinion of probable cost for the program. We also provided a cash flow model. I believe you all received a much larger 11 by 17 handout of that. Might be a little bit easier for you to read than what's in your packet. And then we'll also talk about some next steps. And like I said, we'll have some time for questions at the end. This is information that I believe you've seen multiple times. The current state of the Mount Clemens Health Facility, it's constructed in 1961. The building's antiquated. Really, at this time, it's not in a position where a further investment in the facility would be merited. Many of the systems are beyond their useful life, and spending money on the facility at this point really is not advantageous. In our opinion, based on the current condition. There's multiple items that are noted here. I won't read through all of them, but the key takeaway there is that further investment is not really recommended at this point. We have several pictures here to just kind of note some of the current conditions. I believe some of you have toured the facility, so I believe some of you are familiar with the condition of the existing facility. I'll click through those pictures and we'll get into some of the service efficiency and the delivery model improvement opportunities. I'm gonna let Mr. Cox walk you through this slide.
Thanks, Andy. Good afternoon, Commissioners. We've talked about this many times, I believe, several times at least. With the opportunity, as we've highlighted with the current state of the Mount Clemens Health Building, essentially almost being on life support, we have an opportunity to act here and really align our service and our service delivery model to be more efficient for all of our clients. And that would really be to co-locate the rest of the health department services. As many of you know, some of those have already transitioned over to the VERC. We just don't have enough space for all the services currently over at VERC. but the need is to really co-locate services for the service delivery model to help ensure that when we have individuals that come to our building, the VERC, first of all, they're not going into one of 8 entrances of the VERC building, that it's a lot more easier and efficient to get the services that they need, and visit the right place. And so part of this design would obviously alleviate that and help provide one central, really, service intake where we can help guide people and not frustrate them, and that not be the first experience they come about what letter do you park at when you come to VERC. Many of you, when you have events over there at VERC, you've experienced this, and we've talked about this before, and that is the biggest deficiency of the VERC, is that it's so siloed and broken apart based off of the departments. We really need to co-locate those departments together, and it provides for opportunities for cross communication between the departments and services, so that essentially you just have to go down the counter and get the services if you need veterans, or perhaps you might qualify for additional other services, especially the services that align for our families, WIC services, food services, our food program, and community action, and then also MSU extension services, along with Head Start. All of those programs really align well with the same clientele, and so this gives us that opportunity to redo the VERC to make it a lot more efficient and updated with technology needs.
Thank you, Mr. Cox. Moving forward here, we'll just kind of provide you an overview of the work that's been done to date. The work in evaluating the current Mount Clemens Health Facility and the Verkulen started back in 21. PMR performed a space needs assessment, and then various updates have been made between the 21 and today. Some of the key takeaways that we wanted to note from the evaluation that was conducted, many of which Mr. Cox just mentioned, but the current Verkulen doesn't necessarily solve for efficient circulation. There's many issues with the way that the current structure is designed that prohibits the utilization of all of the square footage for functional use and service to residents of Macomb County. There's also a lack of office and workstation standards and that create inefficiencies. There's duplication of spaces. Many areas have redundancy for bathrooms and conference areas and things of this nature. In current standards today, we see a lot of opportunities for sharing of those types of spaces to reduce the overall footprint, which is in the option that we're here to recommend with you today. We also have numerous capital improvement costs that you'll see noted on a future slide that would really be required to take place if you were to consider anything other than a new facility. And the projected space program with a new facility is actually less square footage because you have that reduction in the redundancy of spaces that you have currently at the Verkulen building. Some other considerations we thought were noteworthy for your consideration. We developed 3 different options. One is to renovate the existing facility as it is. We also looked at an option where there's a small addition to the existing facility, and then option 3, which we're here to recommend, is option 3, which is a new facility, 2-story structure. We just thought it'd be noteworthy that we see that there's several considerations here: security, opportunity for daylight harvesting, which will obviously impact the operation and utility bills. It also will allow you to not address other capital needs that you currently have at the Verkulen building. Among other considerations, the one key takeaway that I thought I'd mention is that with option 1 and option 2, it's going to require that you do some sort of phasing program. There's a cost to that. There's inefficiency that will elongate your timeline, because you have to move people that are currently in the facility either to space within the existing facility, or you may have to lease temporary space to facilitate the renovation program. As a way to kind of, I'll say, get ahead of some of the questions that we're anticipating, we engaged with Clinton Township, with Mr. Bruce Thompson, to just confirm our understanding of the current location based on the zoning, that a new structure is permissible. The current property is zoned R5. With the current restrictions in place, the program that's here and being recommended fits within that zoning. We also talked about the fact that if there's further consideration for a different model, if the program were to grow, if there were further considerations of other departments that may be included in this project, that if we needed to seek a variance, there is precedence here where there are other structures within Clinton Township that are zoned R5 that are above 35 feet and above 2 stories. So Mr. Thompson was very helpful in helping us to not only confirm but understand that if further consideration of additional space was necessary, that there's a pathway there and there's precedence based on that opportunity. We prepared a high-level timeline. Again, this is preliminary. We intend to go through a confirmation and validation exercise with pending approval of the program. The key takeaway in this timeline that I wanted to note was the red star that you see. The way that the approach has been structured is that with your support, the project would start, but then we would be coming back to the board at the conclusion of schematic design, which is approximately 30% of the design, and to confirm that the program scope, schedule, and budget are within the box that we've established. So we wanted to make sure that we emphasized, if you will, that there is a second bite at the apple for this body, that we will be bringing forward a presentation to confirm that all the parameters are being met and that we can continue on with the program. That's approximately 6 months. Don't hold me exactly to that timeline, but we would anticipate probably sometime in early Q4, maybe Q3 of this year, that we would be back in front of you to make a presentation. We developed opinion and probable costs for all 3 options. I think it's most of this information should look familiar to those who have seen it previously. With options 1 and 2, which are renovation and then a renovation and addition, expansion program, we've noted that you're not only accounting for the renovation, but there's also capital improvements that would be necessary, along with renovations of other facilities to allow for the space that would not be created in the new option, and the consolidation that Mr. Cox had mentioned, along with I think I mentioned that we have an approximation of what that phasing cost would look like. We would go again. We can go through a validation exercise to confirm that, but we prepared these options for your consideration. And we're recommending option 3 to construct a new facility at the cost of $80 million. The next slide here is intended to help to better understand the breakdown of what that $80 million includes. It's both hard costs and soft costs. Hard costs being bricks and sticks, all of the fees and staffing that would be required by a construction manager to construct the facility, and then you also have soft costs, which would include all your professional services, contingency, furniture, anything and everything that you need to make the facility operational, with exception of the items noted below, which would be the demolition of the existing facility, any of the IT equipment. We're assuming that all the utilities are sized appropriately, have an existing facility there that is operational, and we'd anticipate that the capacity is there, and that we're using readily available, durable, normal building materials. We provided the cash flow projection for your consideration. One of the you have a handout in front of you that you can reference. The key takeaway from this slide that we want to make sure that we're clear about is that there's an appropriation from the state of Michigan that's been made available to the county for this program and the amount of $25 million. That $25 million allows this program to not only go through the complete design process, but the construction program can start, and we wouldn't need to, seek further funding for the program until we're well into the program. So the $25 million allows us to not only get the program started, get through design, get through a contract with a construction manager, and start the construction before additional funding would be necessary. That concludes the information that we prepared. We do have some next steps which are articulated here. Again, the last item on here is the one we wanted to emphasize again, that you do get that second bite of the apple, that we would be bringing back a presentation to inform you regarding the alignment of the scope, schedule, and budget with that $80 million budget figure. That concludes the presentation. Happy to take any questions you might have.
Thank you. Commissioner Haw?
Thank you, Chair. In looking at the chart thank you for the presentation, I think it was on slide 24 that it had, not that one more.
This one or this one here?
No, the one with,
one?
there it is,
Yes,
the
sir.
soft costs.
Yes.
It says professional services, I mean, you know what the verbiage is.
Yes.
When I add up of the 80 million proposed, 6.5 million goes to professional services. On your chart.
I'm missing something here.
He's referencing the chart on
This
page
chart.
Oh, that,
24.
right, okay, so if you look at I believe it's broken out into two different phases. One is for the state of Michigan
Right.
on the top, and then below there should be another allocation for
Right,
professional services.
it's between the grant money and the county funding source.
Correct.
And I was looking at the definition of professional services. The agenda item today was 450,000. Where does that fall into that professional services category?
It's within that, the top allocation, that 6.5.
Could you say that again, please?
It's within the item in the top, then the state of Michigan allocation.
Okay. And these are the attributes that are covered in soft costs under professional services? Am I reading this right?
The items that you see, so the way that this is broken down is intended to solve for how the 25 million would be spent based on professional services, regulatory, construction costs, FF&E, furniture, fixtures, and then your contingency. So it really is intended to show the same information based on 25 million, how far that gets you into basically, Q8 of the program, and then where the rest of that money, where the other source of funding would take over to conclude the program to finish. Does that answer your question?
I think so.
Okay.
So is the 450,000 in totality throughout the whole project?
No, that's for the first phase. That would get us through the schematic design. It's
So
articulated in the contract.
what would be the total amount through the whole project, do you know?
It's articulated in the task order. It's approximately 2% of the program. So it's about
Okay.
1.6 million.
6 million, 6.5.
1.6 million
Okay.
for our services. There are the professional services like an architect, a commissioning agent, things of that nature that would fall within that allocation for professional services.
Thank you.
Yes,
That's all I have, Chair.
Thank you. Commissioner Lucido?
Thank you, Chair. I guess this would be a question for finance, probably more than anything. My question is, I'm assuming that we would have to bond out for this project? And if so, how would that this, I guess, affect our budget yearly approximately, in your opinion? It looks like we wouldn't have to bond out for like a year and a half, but when the time comes.
Yeah, I think the projections were probably the 2028 fiscal year.
Yeah.
Is about the time that we have to bond. So the county currently has capital improvement bonds on the books, and those bonds are set to expire in, I believe, 2030. So that would be the last year paying those bonds. So if the bonds were issued in 2028, we'll have overlapping payments of 29 and 30, and then they would fall off, and then probably commence similarly in the budget with the current capital improvement bonds that are on the books. The expenditure would be about the same.
Okay, my second question then, along the same lines, is that would we have any money in our budget that we would be able to allocate towards this project instead of bonding the whole 55 million out?
Yeah, that would be a determination throughout the budget process that we can make that determination. So there is, currently quite a bit of reserves in the general fund. If the board so choose, there could be a portion of that is covered as prior to bonding.
So if we were able to allocate
In addition
enough
to that, there is a grant that the county has of $25 million from the state.
Yes.
We received about half of that up front.
Yeah. So there's a chance that maybe if we were able to allocate some of the general fund, that it wouldn't affect our budget at all because we could maybe offset the cost for 28 and 29 and bond in 30? Would that be a possibility?
Well, when you issue bonds, you have to use the bonds within a 3-year, you have to use the bond proceeds within a 3-year period. So I don't think you would be able to bridge the gap with the general fund for that 3-year period as the construction happened.
If we didn't apply for the bond until 30, can we wait to apply?
You would have to basically start the project in 30 if you were
Gotcha.
to wait to 30 to issue the bonds. So you could really start within the 20, the major construction piece. I think you would want to get into design and early work.
Okay.
On
Yeah,
those
we don't
prior-
want to, we can't wait that long. I know this project needs to be done and I know how important it is, so.
Yep.
All right, thank you, that's all I had. Thank you,
Yep, no
Chair.
problem.
Commissioner Howard?
I have lots of questions, and so just forgive me. This is like, because and effectively, like, if I know this is just for discussion, but if we were to approve this, this is essentially us making a $55 million commitment towards this project in the long run.
Can we explain to you what the phase one service is? So, and what
Sure.
that stopgap means, that it might make some of it feel a bit more comfortable. Do you want to explain kind of?
Yes.
So we've broken this in two parts, okay? So we'll call it phase one, which is schematic design. And I'll let Andy explain what that process looks like, but it allows us to do some due diligence, approximately 30% of the design, come back to you folks. I'll let Andy, I don't want to overspeak.
No, Ben, you were right. You were right on it. So the intent here is that we would start the process, get the design. We would hire an architect. We would hire a construction manager to provide pre-construction or estimating services. We would take the design to the end of schematic, which will then allow us to confirm that the program is still within the $80 million project budget. We would then bring that back to you, and that at that point, if the board chose to move forward, I want to put words in your mouth, but you asked if you're obligating yourself to 55 million. At that point, I believe that's when we're saying we're going to move forward with the project.
Yeah, I know. I totally get that.
Understood.
I can only speak for me, but
Sure.
thinking of like, okay, let's approve 450,000, then wait, and then it's like it's kind of tying our hands a little bit because we're spending a large sum of money regardless. I get we have a second opportunity to vote yes or no, and I totally understand that. I guess my question is a little bit too for Mr. Cox. I'll give him a second. So, I obviously represent the south end of the county. I know we have a health facility down there that is in like similar like realities. Like, I can only speak for my constituents, and we feel like as a whole, when it comes to services, not just with the county, but as a whole, like we at the south end of the county receive less. Considering that this facility would be about 16 to 18 miles from the average resident in the south end of the county, this is a huge investment. What is going to happen to the facility in the south end? Because it's hard for me to vote yes effectively for $55 million when my community is being left out of this serviceable area of a, well, I guess the serviceable area was like typically 10 miles for health services.
Yeah, thanks for Commissioner for the question, because I think it's an important one that I've heard some rumors about us potentially not having services in the south end, and that's absolutely 100% not true. There has been, no plans of removing services from the south end, and so what we're currently looking at is options for the Majestic Center and other options that would meet our needs in the south end. We know very much that services in the south end are needed and depended upon by our residents, and accessibility is so important to us. Transportation lines, close distances, so that people don't have to drive far. And so there have been no plans to remove any kind of services or reduce services from the south end. The discussions have been more along the lines of utilizing the space of the Thompson Center, which currently does not have any health services. Currently just MSU, Extension, and Community Action operate out of Thompson Center. But looking at, does it make sense with those two, in Centerline and Warren being so close together, can we consolidate those services into one? And basically do the same thing we're doing at VERC, is consolidating services so that it is more convenient, but does not take away accessibility of services, is one of the number one goals we have. We know absolutely there are a lot of people, and most of our services, walk-in services, are in the south end, and our clients that we serve. So it's very important that we have that presence down there and maintain that, along with other options. Obviously, when we talk about the building, the physical building is just not the only option. That's why we invested in the mobile vaccination, mobile outreach vehicles, so we can go out, and we obviously do quite a bit of like health fairs and community outreach in the south end as well. So, point well taken, and obviously I'm pretty passionate about that we need to maintain those services in the south end. So there's no plan to remove services from the south end.
Yeah, if I remember correctly, and I think Commissioner Kraft was one of the folks that pointed this out, when we voted on spending $60,000 for a study for real estate to find a new location, but in that packet where we voted on, the range was 10 miles from the current location, which then could theoretically put a building at 22 mile or 24 mile, no, 22 mile, following that 10 range. So this building is already 16 miles away. Theoretically, if that we get offered a building that's 10 miles away from that, we could look at both of the health facilities theoretically being north of Hall Road. Because, in that commitment, we were never given on paper a commitment that facility will be in the south end of the county. So,
well, I'm committing to you right now. It's not going to be north of Hall Road. It is going to be in the south end. We're working really hard, to maintain that presence at Majestic, because it's a good location for us. It's major bus fare, that Warren Shopping Plaza. We're doing everything we can to stay there, and so that's what we're working on. But that project, as it pertains to health services, I get that it's all one county and that we're approaching it that way. But it's really separate from the VERC, because we're not taking anything away from the
oh,
south
I understand
end
that. Yeah, I'm tracking
bringing
with
it
that.
up to the VERC project. And if there were any consolidation, it'd be only field services that would still be going out to the field, but it makes no sense of where they're located in the county, because they're going out in the field.
Yeah. A couple more questions, which I totally understand they're separate. And I know the grand scheme of we need to get this done so we can service the residents of Macomb County better. With the current state of the building, say we do nothing, how long can we administer services in the building if we do absolutely nothing?
Well, I've been kind of a squeaky wheel about the health department building. There's a couple things happening there. We are currently at risk of total failure of heating and cooling, and there is no going backwards. When it fails, it will need total replacement, building closure, the whole ordeal. The other thing we're up against in there is the elevator. the elevator is basically red tagged, which means that it no longer meets state requirements with safety and modernization. We told the state in their inspection that we are, actively working on a solution. But in my world, I'll tell you, there is no avenue where we stay in that building without it. There is no value in that facility, and any of the folks that were on the tour will tell you it is somewhat shocking to see it.
So in an
go
ideal
for it.
time frame, are we talking a year, 2 years?
Day to day, if you ask me.
Okay.
So Commissioner, I just wanted to add that I'm not a facilities expert, that's Ben's world. We've had failures already. We had failures last year and the year before that resulted in vaccine loss, where the room got to 98 degrees. We were not able to get to it off hours quick enough, and we had vaccine loss. Because we have to keep the vaccines at certain temperatures for temperature control for safety. We were not able to save vaccines. We experienced $16,000 loss of vaccines. It's just, we can't keep doing that. We have a building that we have to administer and keep running dehumidifiers throughout that building because the humidity gets so high and out of control because our HVAC is just not able to handle. We have regular periods of time where, most likely this week with the heavy rains, that we have penetration from precipitation from the rain that is coming through the building onto waiting areas and clinic areas and staff areas. So in my book, the building's failing. It's already failed.
Yeah, and I know there's significant foundation issues. So if I read this correctly, start to finish, this is a 44-month process. Is that correct?
That's what we anticipate. We were conservative in that number. When we go through a validation process in that phase 1 service, we'll work to contract that timeline. But as we see it right now, we think that that's approximately 44 months max. There may be an opportunity to reduce that, and we would apprise you of that at that schematic check-in and presentation.
Gotcha. Okay, I think my last question, sorry guys.
Go ahead.
The SOMEDC grant from the state, was it specifically appropriated for this particular project, or was it just appropriated for this type of project in the county?
It has to specifically have the health department. It was specifically written for the health department facility.
Got you.
It
So,
has to contain the health department.
but theoretically, that $25 million could be spent on the health department building in the south end of the county.
Yes, it did not. Well, I'll have to go back. I'll check on that, Commissioner, to see if it was specifically named the VERC. I don't believe it did.
Okay, I would
Specifically
love.
give like a geographical location, but I'll double check on that.
Yeah, and I mean, I think Ben kind of answered my question. Ultimately, thinking like, should we go with this one first or the other project first? Is just a question that I always have, because being from the south end of the county, not necessarily a reflection of Macomb, but it seems like us on the south end of Warren seem like the projects always hit us last, not necessarily with Macomb. So that's just one of my questions, if that makes sense. Thank you. That's all, Chair.
Thank you. Commissioner Goike. Thank you, Mr. Chair. First of all, Andrew, I think that's a great idea on your plan for consolidating everything. It makes good sense, better parking, a couple of the different things that the utilities are going to probably more than likely have to be updated with more power and stuff going back there. But did I see on option number 2 that there was already $16 million budgeted for the Southeast Health Department?
I'll speak to that. So I believe we started talking about this build out or this issue back in 2021, before I was even director. But so for years before 2021, we had projects built into the capital budget to completely restore or remove and replace all the heating and cooling at Southeast Health Center over in St. Clair Shores. So that building needs a total renovation as well. We have to remove and replace all the rooftop units, all the ductwork. So we had to pull down all the ceilings. It's a similarly built building where it's kind of set into the ground. So we have significant water intrusion in that facility as well. That's where that $16 million come from. We've kind of kicked that can down the road a little bit. I hate to spend good money for bad, with the anticipation of moving those services out of that building and, well, if the executive wants to get rid of that property or whatever the county decides to do. So, yeah, that building is also in the mix for a total renovation. Yeah, top down.
Okay, another big thing for me is, was there bids submitted to, for this work to be done? You know, nothing against Plant Moran, I just but in a fair bidding practices, usually, is there something put out, or this, how does this come about that, and then how is their pricing that they, that we're paying for?
So, just briefly on the Plant Moran thing, I brought, it was several months ago, I bought a master service agreement with Plant Moran, and now we issue, and what that does, that solidifies their contract language and a sort of different items. So, I issue task orders now with Plant Moran. So it wasn't something we necessarily bid out. I brought it to the board, I believe it was this year, but I had to go back and look. But Andy can explain, kind of how the pricing works. I don't.
Our pricing is, first and foremost, is in line with market standards. It's comparable to other engagements that we've had with the county. The way that we build our models and determine what our fees look like is based on the number of hours that we anticipate that the project will require. And then we offer that as a fixed amount to the county, so there's certainty of your commitment or your obligation for the services, as well as that we understand that we'll be compensated. And unless there's a material change, meaning a unforeseen condition, you decide to add scope to the project, the fee is fixed for the duration of the program.
So the fee is fixed. I also have a, building and stuff. Are you set at like 10% of total costs, including all infrastructure, and substructures and all building materials and stuff? And then that all encompasses your people from design, build to, and the architects and making sure everything's put down right?
Yeah, so the fee that's represented in the task orders is 2% of the overall program budget, approximately $1.6 million. That will take you for those 44 months to complete the program as presented.
So to answer my question, then basically it wasn't put out for bid, you just chose to use these people. And then another question, in your estimates, are you using prevailing wages to, on cost projections on all of your work to be done?
Because you have the funding that's come from the state of Michigan, prevailing wage rates would be required. So the figures that you see in front of you account for that requirement. And I also should note that they account for a 4% escalation year over year throughout the course of the program. So we've accounted for all the variables that are known at this time.
Okay. All right. Thank you very much. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. Commissioner Sabatini?
Thank you, Chair. So just a few questions, guys. What does required phasing mean?
So with the current Berkulin building as it sits, it's full. In order to renovate, we'd have to phase these renovations in some way. I got to move people out of the way. The problems when we do that, and so, similar to what we ran into when we did the downtown campus, are items like fire alarms are very difficult to phase. Electrical, heating and cooling can be difficult to phase. But we have to account for some costs there because at this stage of the game, I don't have anywhere to move people. So there's anticipated there could be some costs there, not just for physically moving them, but where I'm going to put them, whether that be a leased facility or I come up with some magic location from them. One of the departments within that facility that becomes extremely difficult to move is the Goldenberry Adult Day service. The way that is situated and what their requirements are, it would be a tough task to try to relocate them. We would have to build So we'd have to build their permanent location most likely within that footprint and have to move them and then renovate. So it hamstrings us a little bit, and Andy can talk to how they come up with the figures for phasing, but it's basically the difficulties of working around people and the moving parts and potential after hours work, all that sort of thing.
Okay. In regards to the site due diligence, and you chatted with Clinton Township about this in regards to asking them for a variance on the build. So is this something where if we were to get a variance and build a taller building, would that would change some of these figures? Obviously, you won't know that until you go through this process.
Yeah, Mr. Chairman, that to answer your question, yes, if you were to add scope, meaning you were to add square footage to the program, then yes, the budget would have to be increased. If there's a solution that can be achieved through the current zoning requirements, being 35 feet and 2 stories, we would definitely make you aware of that. If there's not, if that opportunity doesn't exist, then we would have to pursue, a variance.
So we would know, based on what you're presenting here today, in 6 months, we would have that answer to decide what we're going to do.
That's correct.
So this is kind of a preempt as to decide, are we going to move forward with the project? We have to have something in front of us in order to make those decisions.
That's correct.
Okay. In the presentation here too, the renovative Southeast Family Center, so the 16 million that you had projected in here, what would we do with that facility if we were to build a new building? Because you have 0 down, so what does that mean?
I want to speak to the staff that are in there.
Sure. So current programs that are located in Southeast Health Center, the majority, so that building is split between health and CMH right down the middle. So half the building is CMH and the other half is health. The half of the health is really our Healthy Communities program. We do some services that come and locate there. We do SUD one day a week, and then we also do sometimes fall, we'll do some immunization clinics for influenza season. But really, the bulk of it is Healthy Communities. Healthy Communities is health education. That's a program that people aren't coming to necessarily, are building for services. We go out in the community for those services. So the plan would be to consolidate those folks up to the VERC building. So that's been planned for those people to be consolidated because they're going to be going out to the community still. That's not going to affect any kind of service, services offered, because those are not people, we don't have a lot of, quote unquote walk-ups for the Southeast Center.
Okay. And I know we're going through this project right now in the south end, restructuring and going through discussions with property owners. Commissioner Howard had brought that up. I mean, there's no intent to move out of Warren, as they had stated. So just to be clear, we do want to stay there. We just have to make sure that all of our boxes are checked in our request. I noticed that, the cost doesn't include any demo of the existing VERC building or the health department building. Andy, what do you anticipate that total cost would be? I know it's not built in here, just as an idea.
Rough order of magnitude that you won't hold me accountable to.
I promise I won't.
So I would say, roughly it's about $10 a foot, $8 to $10 a foot. Now, I say that because there's also environmental considerations. There's some remediation that would have to take place. And so we would need to confirm that, but between the two facilities, you're talking in the neighborhood of 10 to 15 million max. But we would, if you'd like, we can study that further for you and give a better, more clear, concise budget for those 2 locations.
Okay. And then just going down my whole list here. So we got everything on the table here. So I know with the grant, we've got $12.5 million right now in the bank. The other half of that is a reimbursement through the state. So we wouldn't be using, based on what you had proposed here, on getting us to that 6-month point, we would be using the state funds in order to get us that information for us to make a final decision.
Right.
Okay. I know that has an expiration date on those state dollars. So obviously we need to do something if we're going to ask for an extension, because they've got a deadline and we would have to figure that out. Is there any guarantees that I guess I shouldn't say guarantees, is there any risk that the state may decide, hey, we're not going to give you the difference?
Commissioner, I suppose until we get that answer, that they will, there's always a risk that they could say no.
Okay. All right, I'm out of questions. Thank you, Chair.
Commissioner Romano.
Thank you, Chair. I think some of these have been lightly answered. I'm going to go a little bit more in depth if I may. I think Commissioner Howard touched on this, but the money, the 25 million, can that money be used to renovate the building? I guess that goes to you, Ben, or whoever wants to answer. Can it be used to renovate the current building? You're up. That's a yes or no answer.
Sure.
It can be used to renovate.
My understanding of the appropriation is it's for the health department facilities.
$25 million sure could do a lot of work on that building, huh? Not just a thought. Okay, I just want to make sure that it could be used for that. I got a couple questions. Right now, what does it cost to maintain that building on a monthly basis? You have any idea?
I can get it. I don't have it with me. I can get you some basic figures. Yes.
Okay.
Work you talking about, or Macomb itself?
Just on a monthly basis, what's it take right now to maintain that building?
Which building?
Which facility? Both.
The building we're talking about, yeah. Chair Sabatini touched on this also regarding the variances for municipality. If that building were to come down, what would the zoning be on that property? Would it be residential that I saw, or was I missing the boat here? Yeah, I know that you're going to go in for probably special approval land use. Does that sound right?
We would follow the township's process, so I don't want to speak for them. I don't want to put words in their mouth, but yeah, we would approach them with what the intent would be and follow their lead on how a variance would be, considered by their board.
Well, hopefully it'd be favorable towards us, as Chair Sabatini mentioned it. I think we're a little bit ahead of the game here. He mentioned remediation, or you mentioned remediation. That building was built somewhere, 1960? So we know we got asbestos in there. There's no doubt in my mind. Ben, I don't think there's any doubt in your mind. Would you agree?
So we have spent a tremendous amount of time. The unfortunate thing about leaks is that it create a mess. The good thing is we have to fix them. So anytime over the past, my career, 14 or 17 years now, anytime we've gone in and find asbestos, we remove it, and that's in any facility. So we've done a pretty good job. Is there still some in there? Yes. Is it a tremendous amount? I would say no.
There is a lot of.
I don't believe so.
You don't believe so?
Nope.
Do you know exactly how many variances we're going to need when you go to the municipality? Could be a whole bunch, could?
I can't opine on that at this point, but we didn't have that discussion.
That concerns me because municipalities are normally pretty generous when it comes to a project such as this. But depending on, you go in for 1 or 2 variances, you probably don't have a problem. You go in for 5 or 6, there might be a problem. So again, I think we're putting the cart in front, but that's just my statement. Ben, why don't we just tear it down, period? Let it sit.
Yeah, so.
Or sell it.
Yeah, so the health department, obviously, I'd like to be the first one with the wrecking ball, personally. But where do the issue becomes a couple things. Where do we put the people? That's Andrew's consideration. And then we still have to deal with Southeast at that point. So there's another thing there. And then I can't leave out VERC. There's a bunch of things that have to happen at VERC if we stay in that building. So while we shed some, and I will tell you, over the past 3-4 years, we have really beat down doors and just tried to figure this all out. And I'm running out of just leg room to do much. I'll be very honest with you.
Thank
Running
you.
out of options.
That's all I have, Chair. Thank you. Thanks, Ben.
Commissioner Howard, second round.
Hey, he kind of touched on it with the remediation. Can we apply for a brownfield?
I don't know that answer. I did. The first thing I do before demo would be a hazardous materials assessment to figure out where we're at. But It would have to be.
JP is shaking his head no. I'm not a huge fan of brownfields. I think there's a lot of loopholes in that
That's a
law.
little above my-
But if we could,
Commissioner Howard, it's tax fee property. So if we were to redevelop it, usually that has a remediation on taxes. If there is brownfield-related programs that would be available for demolition, cleanup, or remediation, undoubtedly, we would work hand in glove with whatever state agency would make those available on that side. And Commissioner Romano, to answer your question, it is R5 zoning with Clinton Township.
Say that again, please.
R5 for Clinton Township.
Okay, thank you.
And in case you are wondering, and don't quote me on this, it is the single-family residential district classification designed primarily for single-family homes, including districts permitted with detached single-family dwellings, and allows for other types of primary and secondary uses.
Thank you.
Anytime.
that's all.
Thank you.
Thanks, JP.
I want to go back to the demolition of the current Burke building. If we did build a new building, I really think that the cost of the new building should include the cost of demolishing the old building, because we really have to do that.
Yeah, we could certainly add that into the max, yeah.
I
And
would like-
we do more homework on that cost.
I'd like to see that included. The other thing is have we looked at any other sites? I realize we own that property, but have we looked at any other sites? To Commissioner Howard's point, maybe something, to me, East Clinton Township is not central to the town, to the county. Maybe West Clinton Township, North Warren, Southeast Sterling Heights. Have we looked at building a building someplace else?
Not that I'm aware of.
Why not?
I can ask, but we have, I don't know if you've discussed it, but we own the property, so I think that's probably where, yeah.
Yeah, Commissioner, we've done, we've been looking at suitable from Health Department alone. I don't think we've done a full, search of all the programs and departments under Health and Community Services, the other departments like MCA and OSS and Veterans and all the other departments in VERC. When we were looking at this, we've been looking at this, I feel like, for 10 years, because we knew that the Mount Clemens Health Department was really in need. And at that time, we were looking at temporarily relocating and to come back for fixing the HVAC system and the roof at that time. When we were looking, it was very hard for us to find. We did tours of Select Specialty Hospital here. That space really wasn't suitable for the health department only. So we've looked at different options. The big problem we had with clinic space, the need for plumbing. So a lot of commercial real estate was not suitable, or very, very expensive to renovate it for medical clinical use. And a lot of existing medical was too small for us. It might have been like an urgent care at some point, or a small doctor's practice. It just wasn't suitable for our size and needs for staff and use.
Commissioners, if I may too, just for another point of clarification, section 12.5802 of the Clinton Township zoning ordinance states that a permitted and
JP, would you slow down, please?
sorry,
Thank you.
permitted and principal use in that zoning district would be under subsection E, a municipal building and uses. So I do not believe there would be any concerns with regards to special land use. However, permitting regulations with regards to the remediation of the site would be under the jurisdiction of Clinton Township and their zoning provisions.
Thank you.
Thank you. Commissioner Wayno?
Thank you. So I think earlier was asked regarding the demolition costs. Was there a projected amount that somebody, I think from Plant Moran, gave on those demolition costs?
I believe it was 10 to 15.
10 to 50 million. Because obviously in looking in this presentation, we've got option 1 here, option 2, option 3. And option 3, as far as cost is, pretty close to option 1, which option 1 is the renovate. It's only, $1.5 million off. So to us presenting this presentation, it makes it look like it's really close. But yet, really, there's $10 to $15 million that's missing from the option 3 proposal or, presentation that's being given to us. So, I mean, really, option 3 is roughly really 95 million in what should be listed on this presentation. It's a question. Correct? Agree?
If the county wants to consider the demolition cost as part of the program, then we would have to add that in there, yes.
Well, I'm not sure who's gonna pay for it. I mean, unless it's just gonna come down for free, but okay. So
We don't really have a choice.
then I think my other question is regarding option 2. And there's built-in cost there, projected cost regarding renovating the Southeast Health Center of the $16 million, which is then where the 85.5 million comes up. But in option 3, that $16 million is not there, because we're saying, well, if we construct the new building, we're not going to renovate then that Southeast Health Center. My understanding is if you do the renovation and expand with option 2, that $16 million really should not be a line item there, and that should be listed at 0 as well, because that Southeast Center would be moved to the renovate, expand.
No, it's not built into that program. There's not enough space.
It's what?
There's not enough space in the current VERC to renovate and include Southeast employees.
So what would be renovation and expand then, I guess? I missed that, I'm sorry.
The renovation and expansion, you can talk about what it covers, but it's just Mount Clemens Health Department, the Central Health Department, and the people within the VERC building. And it's not even enough room for everybody that's in the VERC building. Have to be some decisions made to relocate some folks out of that building too. The square footage is what it is, but the way the building is built and the way it's segregated limits the ability for us to really make use of all the space.
All right, thank you.
Speaking of knocking buildings down, in any of the 3 options, if we move the health department over there, the current health department building would have to be raised, would it not?
The current health department would get knocked down, absolutely.
And so that's really a cost that has to be added to all 3 of these options.
Yeah, it was in that. So the 10 to 15 that he was talking about is inclusive of knocking down the VERC and knocking down health department.
Is it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Now, oftentimes I'll say that we don't, VERC. Yeah, I don't want to get into it. Never mind, I lied.
Thank you. Seeing no other speakers, I guess this is really a vote to receive and file.
So moved.
Support.
Thank you.
Oh, we already did.
Motion passes 13-0.
Thank you.
I was.
Moving on to 10D, contract for diversified fall protection, suspended access systems, circuit court administration and county buildings, $259,210. I need a motion to move this item to full board. So moved.
Support.
Thank you. Was that Commissioner Wallace and Lucido made this motion and seconded it to move 10D to full board. Ben?
Okay. I am looking for approval for a contract diversified fall protection to provide construction services in the amount of $259,210 for the installation and testing of suspended access systems for the Circuit Court Administration Building and County Building. Suspended access systems are types of equipment used to provide safe access to elevated work areas at the facilities mentioned in this contract. The access systems are used by the county in building envelope projects, including tuck pointing, caulking, window replacement and repairs, window cleaning, etc. They're required to use swing stages commonly seen in construction and cleaning activities. Engineered suspended access systems must undergo strict testing requirements as dictated by MIOSHA and federal OSHA. This engineering and testing are included in the scope of this proposal. The county is anticipating upcoming capital projects that will need these suspended access systems. The existing systems have failed over time and are no longer passing the required testing. The budget for this project is included in the 2026 F&O operating budget.
Thank you. Commissioner Howard.
I didn't see a bid tab for this. If it was in there, I just must have missed it. Was there?
No, so we spent, so the unusual thing with this project is we spent about 7 months just finding somebody to come look at this. We found 2 firms, one out of Texas and one out of Ohio, the Midwest. The Midwest company was able to actually come on site and give us proposals. What we found is it's a pretty unique environment to have to install these after the fact. There's more companies that do it as part of the roof installation. So I went forward with it just as a very, very specialty contractor.
Okay, no one in the state.
We called all of our roofing contractors, and we just had a heck of a time finding anyone that was even considering doing this. And that includes the engineering as well. It's so specialized that we had a hard time finding somebody that was comfortable engineering these anchor points.
Gotcha. Hate to give Ohio business, but
we tried.
I went with the Texas.
We tried really hard.
Thank you. That's all.
So these systems are attached to the building?
Yes. Yes.
Okay,
they're roof systems. Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
Why, if it's required, why do none of the local roofing companies seem to know anything about it?
You know, what we found is most companies are familiar with doing it from the onset, as an engineer designs it and as they're putting in this roof. But to retrofit an existing roof, I was shocked to find the difficulty in finding companies that could do this. Shocked. We found some that would do testing only, but not companies that would do the full and total replacement.
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
Seeing no other speakers, please vote.
Motion passes 13-0.
Thank you. Item 10E is a contract with Anderson, Eckstein, Westrick, AEW for 2026 paving projects, design $164,200. I need a motion to move 10E.
So move.
Support.
Thank you. Commissioner Hall and Howard made the motion and seconded this to move this item to full board. Ben?
Okay, moving right along. This is a contract with AEW to provide construction design services, $164,200 for design and construction contract administration of our 2026 paving project. 2026 paving project focuses on paving replacement in the Clemens Center Plaza, 32 Market Street. You may or may not recall that last year AEW conducted a full assessment of the county's paving needs using a pavement surface evaluation rating, commonly referred to as a PASER rating. Clemens Center was identified in the assessment as needing full replacement. This design will include removal and replacement of drive lanes, curb and gutters where damaged or grade adjustments are required, asphalt pavement with aggregate base, storm structure adjustment and reconstruction if needed, and ADA parking spaces. The budget for this project is included in the 2026 F&O operating budget.
Thank you. What is the budget for paving? I don't have that right.
I don't have it right in front of me. I believe it's 1.2 million this year.
Okay. Commissioner Sabatini.
Thank you, Chair. Ben, really quick, obviously the concrete there is deteriorating. Are there any other locations that we have? I know we're going through the whole space assessment study right now and working on all that, and this was already done. To try and combo these, are there any other ones that you would like to combo with this, or is this kind of one? If you had the budget. Okay. If you had the budget and the pricing would be more favorable?
Very much so.
Okay. Is that something that you're looking for in the future as we get the space assessment stuff done and everything kind of put in?
Yeah, I'm happy to provide the paving assessment if anyone wants to see it. The numbers in there are shocking.
Mm-hmm.
Our paving overall is frankly very poor. I put it in my budget this year, and there's some wiggling around. It does increase a little bit, don't quote me, I believe 2028, as I see kind of more of a adjustment to that, but it would take me many, many years to catch up.
Okay. So this location, based on what you're looking to do, this is just the Clemens Center?
Yeah, and there's a whole bunch of there's a whole bunch of paving projects within our assessment that need done. This one, or I should say that kind of rated the same, we'll say. And this one fits the cost, the budget for it.
Got it. Thank you.
Commissioner Goike.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Thank you, Ben. This is AEW's, that's all inclusive for their inspectors on their
Yeah,
engineers on the
everything.
job.
Yeah, from start to
As
finish.
normal.
Yep.
Okay, yeah, I can see a real big need.
Yeah, typically, in the past, we used architects for this, but AEW on the civil side, there's nobody better. That
Yeah,
does this.
that's what I'm used to working with them,
Yeah.
so. All right, thank you.
Seeing no other speakers, please vote. Oh, excuse me, hold on. Commissioner Grote?
Before we vote, I gotta recuse myself from vote on that contract, potential conflict of interest, so just for full disclosure.
Thank you, please vote.
Motion passes 11 to 0 to 1. Commissioner Grote abstaining.
Thank you. Item 10F, contract for Conventional Carpet, Inc. for the Clemens Center, which is the probation department, carpet replacement project, $183,061.10. I need a motion to move
Chair,
this.
I'd like to make the motion, we postpone this until our space assessment study's done. We don't know if we're gonna need more or less at this particular juncture, and $183,000 is a lot of money to be spending on carpet.
These are state
second?
employees.
I'll support the motion.
Thank you. Here, we have a motion on the floor that's been seconded to move item 10F to after we get our space assessment done.
Correct.
Please vote.
Discussion.
Oh, discussion? Commissioner Howard?
You were gonna
Yeah,
say
these are not county employees. This is not a county department. We are required to provide this state to the state of Michigan, and I'm being totally honest, I can't get into the details of how that all works. The chief judge or the court would have to explain that, but these are all state employees in here. These are all probation officers, basically, circuit court probation officers. So with that being said, this is not included in the space needs, their department.
So this carpeting project is not included in the space need assessment?
No,
at all?
they're not a county department, so we're not studying state probation.
But it is space provided by the county.
The county owns the facility, yes, it's occupied by the state.
But this section of that building
Yeah.
is not included in the space?
No,
assessment?
because we would have to engage with the state of Michigan, and I don't know that they're interested in a space needs study for their space. So they occupy the space as they need.
So there's no opportunity for the space to be limited or increase?
If the county chose to limit the size of the space for the state, I'm sure you could. I'm not sure. We'd have to defer to the chief judge, but there's 100-something probation officers that occupy that space. It's a tremendous amount of employees.
So I think what I'm hearing you say is the space study will not impact the need for this whatsoever?
Unless the county chose they wanted to take space from the state, then I suppose you guys could, or that'd be a new one for me.
I'll withdraw my motion.
I'll withdraw the support.
I support a motion to move this to full board.
Commissioner Howard and Lucido made the motion and supported it to move this item to full board. Commissioner Goike, you still want to speak?
Yes, I don't know, Ben, maybe you don't even know what the contract is. Usually, if it's got to be pro grata, because we also get other money back from the state for that department, because most generally, if it's another you know, somebody's within your building, they are responsible for all the upkeep and everything in the interiors on commercial buildings. So that's why, do you know what that contract is? Because that's a little,
Yeah, I don't know the contract. I will tell you in the 17 years I've been here, we've always maintained it. Our trades and our custodians do their thing there. So my assumption is that it's a requirement of the space we give them. But I would defer to the court administration or chief judge to explain that partnership.
yeah, just because we always does it doesn't mean that it's always
Yeah.
right.
No, I
It's like-
understand.
But that's why.
Yeah, I don't have. I'm
The
not privy to
details
that.
is what matters.
Yeah.
So, okay, thank you very much.
Commissioner Sabatini?
Hey, so do we lease that space, Ben, to the state, or how does that relationship work?
Yeah, I'd have to defer and have Julie or somebody else explain it, I'm being totally honest. Like I said, I've always maintained it. That's how I learned, and I'm assuming
When's the last time the carpet's been replaced there?
it's way over 20 years old. It's bad, real bad. Yeah.
And that would be that entire department, the probation, so that wouldn't include the elections portion over
No.
there, or the entryway or anything, just probation?
Just probation. And we,
If we were doing, would it make more sense to just do the entire, I mean, there's not that much more carpeting left.
typically, I would say no. We're doing so much here that I don't know that there's more economy of scale. It's 2,550 yards of carpet. So, and we're doing it on but even so, you know, the future of those other departments and how they function, I'm not really certain that, you know, carpet's needed or, you know, because everything gets kind of changed at different times depending on renovations. Elections moved in 6 years ago, so their flooring wouldn't be that old. The clerk the clerk has some storage over there that just got renovated, so all that flooring's new. So the only person that leaves is a tenant, and that's, I believe it's like short legal or one of those groups. So it's certainly an option, but we'd be looking at a tenant situation.
Okay. I'll support this, but I'll get some more information before full board, maybe talk with you and talk with Chief Judge about it.
Yeah, I'll let Julie know that there were some questions, and she can, between her and the chief judge, they can maybe send some correspondence as far as how that whole relationship works. That's a little
Okay.
outside of my wheelhouse.
That'd be great. Thank you.
Excuse me. Thank you.
Commissioner Grout?
Was there more than one bid? I only see one.
Yeah, so what we did here was, in lieu of the traditional bid, we're using, we're following labor rates and product pricing through the Sourcewell Cooperative Purchasing Group, and I have the bid number down here. This is a 3-year co-op purchasing agreement that we brought to the board in 2023, so that'll end at the end of this year. Sourcewell competitively solicits and awards contracts for state and local government, K-12, higher ed, and military. So we piggyback off of their bid. The bid for carpeting, for example, I believe there's over 700 pages because they solicit basically not only labor rates, but every type and grade of carpet from a variety of manufacturers. So this is using a government co-op bid versus our purchasing trying to undertake that bid process. And this is what I've used for the past 2 years for the same co-op.
Thank you.
Yep.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Certainly. And this bid includes, I don't know if they have desks or portable office walls or whatever in there. That's all covered, moving that around?
Yeah, so this budget, yeah, it includes, there's hours in there for not just moving things, there's hours in there for overtime labor because we don't do main corridors and things like that when folks are there. And then there's labor hours in there for moving furniture, and then our staff help tremendously because our carpenters have to take, you know, depending on the office space, there's a whole bunch of small little offices in there. And depending on the office space, sometimes our carpenters will assist taking apart desks and things like that so they can be moved. It's carpet tiles, sort of like you have here, so it's very much modular, and we have already met with the state on how we're gonna approach it and phase it. So we don't interrupt anybody or kind of allow them to run their operation while we get this done. So it is a large amount of carpet in unoccupied space. I'm not going to deny that.
Speaking of their operation, during COVID, a lot of people moved off-site. Are these probation officers actually bringing in, I don't know what you would call them, clients or the people they deal with into that office, so they're there? Or are a lot of them working off-site now, and they don't really need all the space that they have?
I can request that from their, it's changed a lot this with the state on how during COVID, there was nobody there. And they relied somewhat on the county guidelines, but I'll refer to them, and I'm happy to send you that information as far as staffing levels, most certainly, yeah.
Yeah, because I'm interested if they're actually using all the space they have, or some of the county departments, some people are only in a couple days a week, and so desk sharing would be a lot more possible.
No problem.
And probation officers sound like they might be out in the field or something.
Yeah,
I don't really know. I'm not trying to second guess anybody.
Yeah.
I'm just admitting that I don't really know.
No, I am with you, honestly. So I will reach out to their district manager that we routinely deal with, and I'll have them provide me some data.
Okay,
Yeah,
good.
I'll get that to you guys.
Chair Sabatini, did you?
Thank you. Ben, what budget is this in? Is this in the capital expenditures budget or in your budget?
It's an operating, I asked for a lot more floor covering than I normally do in a year, so
Okay.
I just added it to the floor covering budget.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Seeing no other speakers, please vote.
Motion passes 13-0.
Thank you. Moving on to item 10G, budget amendment for Facilities and Operations Capital Improvement Fund for 42nd-1 District Court in Romeo Exterior Restoration Project Design, $75,000. Need a motion to move to full board?
I'll make a motion to move G and H to full board.
Thank you.
All right.
Did I hear support?
Yeah, for me.
Okay, Commissioner Howard and Goike made the motion and seconded it to move items 10G and H to full board. Thank you. Ben?
All right. I guess today's my day. Gonna get a chair. I need a chair. Seeking approval for a budget amendment and subsequent contract with Wakely Associates to provide construction, engineering, design services in the amount of $75,000 for 42-1 District Court Romeo Exterior Restoration Project Design. Romeo Court Building needs exterior building envelope repairs and restoration. These repairs are vital in the upkeep of the facility for not only longevity, but to stop active water intrusion and the subsequent issues it's been causing. The scope includes but isn't limited to masonry restoration consisting of tuck pointing and replacement of cracked or broken masonry units, flashing replacement as required, replacement of all sealant, replacement of the EFIS, which is a kind of an exterior building product, with a drainable system and reconfiguration with a new standing seam roof system, potential installation of new masonry expansion joints and control joints, replacement of interior gypboard, hard ceilings, and acoustic ceilings where it's been damaged from the exterior deterioration, replacement of EFIS ceiling and roof on the existing carport. We're going to bid as an alternative, and that's kind of where the judges park. The budget for this project is included in the 2026 F&O Capital Improvement Plan.
Thank you. So this is just for the project design?
Yeah, yes, sir.
So how much is it anticipated that this exterior renovation will cost?
Oh, shoot, I don't have my budget with me. I actually budgeted for more than, even if this is 10%. I budgeted over $1 million. I'll get it for you. I apologize. We originally started the design of this through the masonry restoration that we do every year. So a portion of this project's already designed. When we got into it, I realized the magnitude of it. So we stopped where we were at, pulled it out of masonry restoration, and are revisiting it this year. So I'm gonna have to get it for you. I don't have it. It's, I want to say in the $1.2, $1.5 million range. But I'll get it for you. I apologize.
And what company had the low bid?
This is with Wakely Associates, they're architects. And they team up with an engineer.
Okay, I'm sorry, I see that in
Yep.
H now. Commissioner Sabatini.
Ben, how old is that building?
I don't have the date in front of me. We have not,
35, I think.
yeah, we have not, we did an improvement last year, but not to the well, it was exterior, but it was for connecting to the water and sewer at a request of Bruce Township. We have not done much on the exterior besides paving in my tenure in FNO, so it's been many years, so it's due.
Do the locals share in any portion of that court?
I don't know that answer. I most certainly will defer to Julie on that one.
So your request here is just for design and determining what the total budget would be, basically?
Yeah, I'll come back. Once we have design, we'll go through the formal bid process and I'll come back with the total cost of the project to do the fix for the actual construction.
What's the timeline on something like this?
I think we have 8 to 12 weeks on design.
And then total for the complete project, another,
Months, depending on, so if we're 8 weeks, it's enough time in the year to get it done. I would say before the end of the year, we'd want to get this done. I have active water intrusion, so frankly, I got to do something. The
what does that
overhang
mean, active water intrusion?
So the overhang, this EFIS system, it's kind of like a drywall, kind of a styrofoam. You see it on a lot of facilities. One of the places, we have it here on the overhang on the outside, underside of the deck. But it's gotten so much water inside that soffit because the drainage is bad that it's all kind of failed and it's falling down. And so what ended up happening is it started burning out some of the exterior lighting, and then it took out some cameras, security cameras, and now it's actually getting into the building itself. So we have active leaks in that building that need to be repaired, and this is how to do it.
Okay, thank you.
Oh, bless you. 1990.
1990.
I like my backup.
3 years before I was born.
Thank you. Commissioner Koike.
I was just going to tell you it was built in 1990. So, but and then the other thing I would like to say, Ben, is I'm not familiar with Wakely, but can you consider design build in the future so that these people can have the whole, they can take care of the whole project? Because it still has to conform with all the standards and everything. So I think it's we're doing the same thing with AEW, and it's I think it's a lot be a good cost savings to us, and with the good protections into it, because most generally, sometimes they have to put bonds on their work and stuff, so the taxpayers can feel very safe on them things being built, and we don't have to separate it. That way, it's under that house, and it's easy for you to keep track of.
Yeah, not a problem.
Thank you.
We'll consider it.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. Seeing no other speakers, please vote.
Motion passes 13-0.
Thank you. Moving on, I'd like to take 10I and J together, Budget Amendment, Facilities, Operations, Capital Improvement Fund, Juvenile Justice Center, Air-Cooled Chiller Replacement Project for $105,000.
So moved.
Support.
Thank you. Commissioner Haw and Howard made the motion and seconded it to move 10I and J to full board. Ben?
Okay, we're almost there. It's the home stretch. This is a budget amendment and subsequent contract with Wakely Associates to provide construction, engineering, design services, amount of $105,000 for the air-cooled chiller replacement project design over at Juvenile Court, to the JJC. Air-cooled chillers are industrial refrigeration systems used to cool water or other fluids like glycol for air conditioning, and the air-cooled chiller at the JJC is well over 20 years old. The unit has served its useful life. It's prone to failure now, and replacement parts are becoming extremely hard to come by. The design will include removal and replacement of the existing chiller, removal and construction of a new chiller enclosure to screen and acoustically address the new chiller, which has increased in size from the original. Replacement of indoor evaporators and associated refrigerant detection systems. Additional ventilation required for the indoor evaporators. We're going to design the plumbing systems to accommodate the replacement. Design building power distribution to the new chiller and any mechanical equipment as required. And we'll design the one-line diagrams and panel schedules as required. The budget for this project is included in the 2026 F&O Capital Improvement Plan. I will note that the chillers unfortunately are about a 70-week lead time, so we're seeing just crazy lead times on these things. Just wanted to note that we're looking at a really long lead time here.
Seeing no speakers, please vote.
Motion passes 13 to 0.
Thank you. Items 10K and L, budget amendment for F&O for Capital Improvement Fund on the Old County Building Tunnel Waterproofing Repair Project, $155,000. I need a motion to move to full board.
Motion to move to full board.
Support. Thank you. Commissioner Grote and Howard made the motion, seconded to move 10K and L to full board. Ben?
Last one, seeking approval for the budget amendment and subsequent contract with Wakely for $155,000 for the Old County Building Tunnel Waterproofing Repair Project Design. As some of you may recall, during hard driving rains, we have significant water intrusion into the tunnel. At times, we've had the water rise over 6 inches. We had a waterproofing assessment conducted by Soil Materials Engineers Incorporated, commonly referred to as SME, in coordination with Wakely Associates Architects. The assessment discovered multiple issues in their assessment, which will be remedied through this project. The scope of the project design includes, but not limited to, removal and replacement of the existing granite panels with associated plaza flashing, re-waterproofing of a portion of the north side of the county building. Alternate pricing for complete re-waterproofing of the tunnel between the Old County Building and the 16th Circuit Court and additional plaza drains if required. The reason for the alternate pricing on the complete waterproofing of the tunnel is there's some unknowns there until we start excavating to see what sort of condition the waterproofing is on the tunnel itself. Unfortunately, in our historical documents, we're kind of chasing our tail with this tunnel. There's a whole lot of missing information or not included information on how the tunnel was waterproofed and built. So we did 3 to 4 test spots here. We did excavations to determine the problems we're addressing in this, and we're going to seek those alternate bids for a complete waterproofing of the tunnel in that section where it connects to the county building as an alternate in the case that we discover it needs replacement. So we're not surprised by that cost. The budget for this project is included in the 2026 F&O Capital Improvement Plan.
Thank you. Commissioner Howard?
Hey, Ben. Can you refresh my memory? You need to do that same thing for the parking garage for this building as well?
Yeah, that design's almost done.
Okay.
We're at the 11th hour there.
All right. That's all.
Yep.
Thank you. Because I was just
that's
like,
getting done.
I remember that, and I was like, would it make sense to try to do them both at the same time? But if that's already underway, so
yeah,
thank
they're
you.
on 2 different timelines, but that one is going to be going out to bid. I would guess in the next 4 weeks. Something like that.
Great. Thank you so much. That's all.
Commissioner Perna?
How much disruption is going to be for the employees in the court system? Is that tunnel going to be closed?
No, the tunnel, at this point, the tunnel won't be closed. If we excavate and find that the tunnel is in really bad shape, then we'd have to discuss the tunnel closure. But at this point in time, nobody is considering closing a tunnel. The only impact it may have is occasionally when we do demolition within the vicinity of the court, it messes with the court recording devices. So we will probably look at doing the concrete demolition at nighttime, as we're doing on the court porch repair, just so we don't disrupt any recording devices, so, yeah. But at this time, I see no reason that tunnel would be closed on a weekday, yeah.
Commissioner Zinner.
Thank you, Chair. Ben, do you have any idea when that's going to start?
That project?
Yeah.
I have another, about 8 weeks in design here, and then we'll bid it out, which is 3 weeks, so it's gonna be end of summer.
Okay,
Yeah.
thank you.
Yeah, in a
Thank you,
perfect
Chair.
world. Yeah.
Will they have to excavate as part of the design?
In Kennedy Square, yes. Yep.
And is
There's
there-
gonna be, I don't wanna, it'll come through in the design, and I'll be able to explain it in more detail at time of construction bids when I bring that up here. But the flags will be directly in front of, it'll impact that north door in the county building, the stairwell, that it's secure, so nobody really comes and goes out of that door. So that, it's right in front of those stairs on the north side of the county building.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is there any possibility to do the waterproofing of the tunnel? We'll have to excavate in the street?
We're not chasing that at this time, undercast. I'm trying to avoid that like the plague. We found the waterproofing issues with the same engineering group over on the plaza deck that Commissioner Harden was talking about. At this time, I don't believe that's where the water's coming from.
You think it's just where the tunnel connects to the two
Yeah,
buildings?
and it's really a north driving rain is when we get the bad flood. So everyone up here is going to cross their fingers this week with this rain. It's a very specific rain that causes this flooding. Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay, good. Seeing no other speakers, please vote.
Motion passes 13-0.
Thank you.
Thank you all.
Next, we have public participation. This is an opportunity for anyone in the public to speak for a maximum of 3 minutes on any subject, any issue. Public participation. Public participation, anyone? Hearing none, we'll close public participation and go to commissioner comments. Commissioner comments? Seeing no commissioner comments, we'll close that and go to.
She said that already.
I didn't hear her. She mumbled.
She said it first.
Whatever she said.
Please vote.
Motion to adjourn by Commissioner Howard, supported by Commissioner Lucido.
Vote.
Please vote.
Don't mark that.
I got you covered, kid. Don't worry about it. Got you covered.
Motion passes 13-0.
She said it first.